From Spamtown, USA, Austin, Minnesota, this is the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. We break down the big hits, the spectacular saves, and the clutch goals with the men behind the bench. Get the inside scoop with exclusive insight, strategy, and stories from your Austin Bruins coaches. And now, here's your host, David Coyer, alongside Bruins Associate Head Coach Al Rooney.
The Bruins just closed out 4 straight games against the North Iowa Bulls, taking 3 of the 4, and now they're headed into the Minot Series. It's always a big series every single year. Everyone always has it circled, but Minot coming to town this Friday and Saturday, so we're here to break it down on another edition of the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. David Coyer along with me, Associate Head Coach Al Rooney on his first appearance on the Coaches Show this season. Al, welcome back to the Coaches Show. Are you excited for another year of getting to sit with me every 4 weeks?
I'm always excited to sit with you, David.
No, you're not. You don't have to lie to them. We know how it is. Well, I got an easy question for you right now. It's non-hockey related, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you right now.
Okay.
A big day for you happened a couple weeks ago, and I want your opinion on it. Taylor Swift dropped her new album, and I haven't gotten to listen to it, so I wanted your review first before I go out and listen to it, and I'm sure all the Bruins fans are excited to hear as well.
Well, I have no choice but to be a bit of a Swiftie because my wife and, more importantly, my daughter are huge Swiftie fans. So I've heard a few songs, not all of it. The one song, Opalite,
Okay.
I have to say is incredibly catchy and kind of irresistible. So that one I really like. Fate of Ophelia. There's those two I like. The rest I haven't really heard too much.
Sure.
But it's a good album. I'm an unabashed Taylor Swift fan. I make no bones about it.
And I'm not giving you crap for it. You have great reasons as to why you're a Taylor Swift fan. It's just, to me, it's funny, but it's also, I just wanted to get your genuine opinion. It's a good album from what I've heard. It's a Taylor Swift album. It's a Taylor Swift album. I know I'd see it on social media. Everyone was liking it, so had to get the man himself, Al Rooney's opinion on it first. But 9 games into the season, the Austin Bruins have gotten a point in at least 7 of the games. How would you assess the team's performance so far through the year?
Pretty solid. Not world-shattering, but we've had a couple of struggles here and there that have unfortunately bitten us and caused some disruption to our game plans. But all in all, I think the guys have responded well, and we've put ourselves in good positions in each game. So the 2 regulation losses that we have were by 1 goal. So all in all, real solid, but plenty still to work on.
And you mentioned it there, haven't lost a game by more than 1 goal. I mean, even when you look at the overtime loss, the shootout loss, those are obviously, it's just a 1-goal game in that. What have you seen as, again, we're only 9 games into the season, but what is the biggest point of growth that you've seen in this team since even back to preseason?
I would say the buy-in from the new guys. I think our structure's starting to take shape. It'll never be as structured as Steve and I like, but I think the growth of buying in and structuring up and playing our systems, I think that's what's led to our success. And when we're executing to expectations, that's when we're playing our best brand of hockey. And I think it's been fairly consistent. But like I said, when we've had breakdowns, they've been breakdowns that have kind of come back to haunt us here and there. So just cleaning up those sorts of things. But I've enjoyed watching not only the guys buying in, but the excitement of some of the guys buying in. And when the game's going real well, they're locked in. So it's been enjoyable.
So when you talk about buying in, I mean, just finished up 4 straight games against North Iowa. That's never easy, seeing the same team 4 times in a row, but all of them pretty great wins if you really break it down. I mean, the 5-4 shootout win, come from behind, down 4-0. You look back to this past Friday, a 6-2 victory down in Mason City in what was a very physical game. And then even the one loss on Saturday, it was 4-3. Guys never felt like they really stopped giving up. A lot of grit, a lot of determination, and the unwillingness to give up. Can you kind of speak on the team's performance in some of these games? And if you even go back to the season opener against Bismarck, down 3-0, end up winning 5-4.
Yeah, this team showed some character. Excuse me. We call them character wins, and obviously you don't want to put yourselves in that type of spot. Twice this season in a young season, we've already been down by multiple goals in the first. We've come out flat. So that's something that we've addressed and will continue to address. But again, it's the mark of a team over the course of 60 minutes. What's the result? And we've battled back from it and shown that character and shown our depth, really. So that's been exciting to see. For a while there, we were struggling a bit on the 5-on-5, but now that's come to light. I think, if anything, would just probably like to tighten up a bit defensively on the goals against over the course, and that's not on anyone in particular, just team-wide defensively. We'd like to probably tighten that up a little bit. But other than that, they've shown resilience in coming back. We've shown the ability to close out in other games. So it's been a good group to work with so far.
You talk about the depth, and I know last year when we had you on a couple times, you and I talked about maybe a little bit of lack of depth in scoring, the secondary scoring, really relying heavily on that all-Canadian line. Right now, obviously, there are some of the top goal scorers or point scorers. You have the Marchionok twins, Nate Williams, EJ Paddington, just to name a few. But you look to this past weekend, 9 goals in 2 games, all of them scored by different players. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on just how much depth this team has and how some of these secondary scorers or how some of these younger guys are starting to step up and start to score here as we get further into the season?
Well, not so much a younger guy, but a new face to the lineup. Mikey Coleman has come in, and even when he wasn't producing in the box score the first couple of games, his possession game was a difference maker for us. So we knew it was a matter of time before he came alive. So the fact that he's been contributing regularly each game has been a big factor for us because that's he kind of plays off the Twins line. So if you're trying to watch then now you got to deal with Coleman's line. So it provides a little bit of a facet of a little bit more arrows in the quiver for us, as to how we want to attack our opponents, whether if they're trying to line match and so on and so forth. Trace Day has come alive for us and has started to produce. There's been a multitude of guys. Sam Klein got his first goal, and he's been a guy that's been, for one of the young guys, that's been real rock steady for us. So we got other guys like Harrison Kazabowski, who's been in and out of lineup as of right now, but is a guy that we see a lot of foundational pieces in his game. There's going to be a lot of growth for him. And then last but not least, as far as young guys, Hudson Ruth has been a stalwart on our PK when he's been in the lineup. He's got a motor that just doesn't quit. So that's a guy that can really get a team going through his actions. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle right now that when we get them together and they all start firing on all cylinders at the same time, I think we can be a dangerous team. But time will tell.
One young guy who's also been playing well, Tucker Lovejoy, in his first 2 games, 2 goals. He's making the most of his shifts when he gets out there. So another guy, and also because I got told this by Harrison, and I wasn't sure if he had actually told the coaching staff, because it's easy to correct me. It's not as easy to tell you guys this. It's Kuzhabuski. Not sure.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, and it hasn't registered in my brain yet.
It's much easier to say Kazabowski.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to him, but yeah, you are correct.
Well, and it's also it was one of those.
I apologize.
It was one of those where he comes here last year, and everyone it reads Kazabowski. Everyone kind of starts calling him Kazabowski, nicknamed Kaz, and then never corrected anybody.
Yeah, I'll just stick with
that.
Kaz at this point.
And then it was before the one of the preseason games up in Cloquet this year, and he said, "You're going to say my name correctly," and I'm just like, "Have I not?" And he's like, "Well, no, but technically it's Kuzhabuski," and I'm just like, "What do you mean technically? Is that how you say your name?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I'm just like, why are you just telling me this now? I want to say, like, we had pronunciations during media day, so I've given him grief before it, but Kajabuski, just to make everyone's life a little bit harder, instead of having it read, I give him grief all the time for it. Getting back to hockey, you stepped into a role here in these last couple of weeks that you hadn't since 2020. You were serving as interim head coach for the Austin Bruins for a couple games here. Steve Howard serving a 3-game suspension non-consecutively. So this Friday, you'll be back behind the bench for the final time. But how have you been handling that personally? I mean, you have head coaching experience here in the North American Hockey League, and while it's not a long-term head coaching role, it's still you got a little bit of burden on your shoulders for some of those games.
It's been a fairly seamless transition. Really just taking the baton from Steve for a 2.5-hour length of the game, really. There's nothing really that's being changed. So it hasn't been as significant as it probably looks. That being said, there are a few differences as far as communication during the actual game, but Steve does an unbelievable job with this team, has for nearly a decade now. So it's really just a matter of stepping in briefly and making sure the train stays on track is all. And the guys have been executing and playing hard for Robbie and myself over those couple of games, so it's worked out. But it's been a very seamless transition for that.
And as I mentioned, you're stepping back into that role this Friday for Game 1 against Minot. Minot is always a series, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Everyone circles it. It's been a rivalry here. They're celebrating their 15th season. Bruins celebrated our 15th season last year. Always a lot of emotions, a lot of built-in storylines there. Always physical games. Of course, you have to go back to the playoffs. The reverse sweep is always big. How is the coaching staff as a whole, and since you'll be in that interim head coach role on Friday, how do you guys keep the players' emotions in check for a big game like this when you know that emotions are going to be riding high?
Well, you do want to channel a certain amount of emotions to get them up for the game. But having said that, you really just keep them focused on the task at hand, which is executing to our game plan and earning those 2 points on the first night. And then we'll worry about Saturday night when Saturday night arrives. But right now we're focused on getting off to a good start against a good Minot team. Traditionally, like you said, they're always a team that we seem to have tight games with, emotional games with. So I don't expect anything any different this weekend. But, I mean, you could say that about a lot of teams. There's a different storyline for just about every team in our division where we can get up for. So Minot's a team that can be dangerous, and they came in last weekend and took 2 from us in their first time out here. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And transitioning a little bit more, I wouldn't be doing my job if you weren't on here and we didn't talk about the penalty kill, because you're the guy who kind of handles the penalty kill. I got teased a little bit last year by some of the hockey ops staff for calling you a penalty kill savant. But the PK was great last year. I mean, it had its ups and downs, but by the end of the season, very strong penalty kill. And it's back to, being one of the strongest penalty kills in the league right now against North Iowa, killing off 17 of 19. What's been working this year, and what have you seen from that side of the special teams?
Well, again, to go back to what I said earlier, the buy-in they've locked in. We've had a good amount of returners, especially on the back end with Albert, Lund, and Willie. Those 3 guys have been stalwarts back there. They were here all last year, so those guys have been big on the back end, and that gets us a good start. Lipset is a returner. But really the speed of Ruth and the Marcinek twins, so we have some speed there. Lipset has some size. Klein's been on the kill. JJ's been on the kill. And they've really they've locked in. Beckwith is a stalwart there. He's kind of my 5-on-3 specialist. When we get a 5-on-3, he's my forward that I put out there. So they've just responded real well. We put a lot into it. It's my favorite thing to do as a coach is focus on the PK. It's like getting stabbed in my heart whenever we allow a PK goal. I just get a burning sensation in my whole body every time it gets scored on when it's a PK. But again, it's something that I really enjoy, watching other teams' power plays and coming up with a game plan to find a weakness and jump on it. And then when I see the guys enacting on it, it's a lot of fun as a coach, and the guys get excited about it. And it's been a difference maker for us, because right now, over 9 games, I love to say this, but we've allowed 6 power play goals, but we've scored 6 on the shorthanded. So we're even over 9 games, which I'm real proud of.
I need to get, because after the showcase, I sat with Coach Howard here on the Coaches Show, so I want to get your thoughts on it. The single penalty against Maine, where both Marshanock twins scored shorthanded. Run us through your emotions during that, because I don't even remember looking down at the bench to see what you were looking like. I'm sure you probably were stoic as always, but what was going through your head when the second shorthanded goal went in?
The first one was a little bit more obvious because it was a bit of a breakaway.
Yeah.
So I was pumped for that, and when it went in, I did my quick little fist pump, but then I got to get back to work, and now I'm writing down, because I track who's on the ice for the teams, for our scorecards and plus minus and assists and all that. So I'm getting to work on that. And then, quite honestly, on the second goal, once we got it over the blue line and they were taking off, I was thinking, okay, they're headed that way. I'll take 2 seconds, and I looked down and started organizing who was getting next and coming next, and when all of a sudden the bench erupted. So I looked up, and I didn't know what had happened. I was just excited that we scored another goal, and it was obviously a shorthanded goal. So I didn't see it until after the game when we watched video, and it was a great shot. Yes. But to get three in one game that's a first in my career. Yeah,
no, that was such an exciting game. Simon Marshanock with I think 2 shorthanded goals during the showcase. So it was an incredible week for those guys and for the PK. So maybe you're earning that savant status on the PK.
Excuse me.
One of the names that you mentioned before, not to discredit any of the other names you mentioned, but Nate Williams, named captain this year. 3rd year Bruin. So you've worked with him here for a while. He's been. I didn't think there was a lot of room for him to get better from how he played last year, but he somehow has gotten even better than I think where he was. He had 5 points in the 4 games against North Iowa, even earning himself a Central Division 3rd star of the week. He's got that leadership quality. He shows it out on the ice that he can play. He's a guy that you typically seem to rely on. Talk about the impact of having him back here for a 3rd season.
Well, he's just an all-situations guy for us, obviously, as a team, but particularly myself as the associate head coach running the D. He's a guy I lean on quite a bit. He's the captain, so he's the leader of the entire team, but he does a great job of leading the D corps. I can be hard on him, and he's got thick skin, and he loves it. He understands it. And more importantly, he's a great human being. He's got a great sense of humor, so I spoke to him at the beginning of the season and this summer about picking his spots as to when to be serious and when to show off that wonderful sense of humor of his, and he's done a great job with that. Funny enough, as well as he's playing, there's still areas where we're noticing on video with him where he's working on improving. So he's done yeoman's work for us. Again, he's the only guy, one of the few guys in my coaching career who I would even consider. There's times when he stays out for the full 2 minutes on the PK. So he is a real PK stalwart for me back there, and he sees power play time for Robbie. So he's contributing at both ends of the ice and off the ice. So he's been everything we've asked for this season.
The Austin Bruins in town against the Minot Minotauros Friday and Saturday, 7:05 puck drop. You can get your tickets at tickets.austinbruins.com or at one of our ticket vendors, Games People Play, Hy-Vee here in Austin, or Jim's Marketplace. Saturday, Trunk or Treat Night, 4:30 to 6 in the Riverside Arena parking lot. You can come out, decorate your car, hand out candy, or bring the kids out, test those Halloween costumes, and get candy for them before the game. Don't even need a ticket. You can come, trick or treat, and leave. But obviously, we'd love for you to come to the game.
Can I get some candy?
If you go out there and go trick or treating,
I might.
And you do need the costume.
Okay.
And not to give spoilers away, because I think this will be posted before the other video I just made yesterday. But are you going to wear your Darth Vader costume?
Ooh. If I still had it, I would.
If you still have a Darth Vader
Instead,
costume.
I don't know if I'll dress up either as Robbie or you. Both are scary.
I feel like it's easier to dress as me because I just have a more basic wardrobe. Robbie at least tries to look good sometimes. I'm just athletic shorts and.
I'll just dress like a giant third grader.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically what it is. Before we close out this coaches show, oh man, it's gonna be a fun season. Before we close out this coaches show, Josh Bartosik, the Rochester Grizzlies broadcaster, does a coaches show up there with the Rochester Grizzlies coaching staff, and I saw a question that I guess he's been asking the coaching staff up there on which of the three would score first in a shootout. Now, I'm not going to ask you that question because you were a goaltender. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask an even more important question. Who, between head coach Steve Howard and assistant coach Robbie Murray, do you think could score on you first?
Steve,
no question?
Yeah.
No question?
Steve scored on me in a pro game, unfortunately.
That is, I do know that story. I do remember that story.
So yeah, it's Steve.
Both of them D-men, so it's not like one's a forward, one's a D-man. No, they're both D-men. So Steve would score on you first.
I'll go to my grave before I let Robbie score on me.
Before you let Robbie Murray score on you.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's we'll have to I'll have to come up with a creative question.
And I nearly did go to my grave at the end of last season when I did get net for the first time in about a decade.
I still that footage is still hidden. I need to bring that out of my media grave and edit those highlights together.
For Halloween, there you go.
For Halloween, there we go. Al Rooney last season at the end of the season, suited up, went in net for the first time in how many years?
Probably about over a decade.
Over a decade. And when I went up to him to talk to him afterwards, I thought he was going to go to an early grave.
I was tired.
He was sore for about the next week and a half. But that footage will maybe be coming out sometime during this season at a special time. But another great episode of the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. We hope to see you here at Riverside this weekend. It's Minot Week. We need Riverside rocking, so come on out, get loud. Tickets.austinbruins.com. For Associate Head Coach Al Rooney, I've been David Coyer. You've been watching another edition of the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. Coach, thanks for joining me this week.
Thank you, David.
We'll see you next time.